If you were told to use the opposite gender's bathroom, you would probably be reluctant. This is very similar to what we as a society are doing when we make people with non-traditional identities go into a gendered bathroom. As someone who is a part of the LGBTQ community, this is a very important topic to me. Although gender-neutral bathrooms are less efficient than standard bathrooms, they should be available everywhere to avoid confusion and forcing people to conform. I'm going to tell you about the difference between sex and gender, the benefits from these bathrooms, and concerns people have for these bathrooms. First, I will talk about the difference between sex and gender. I will start by defining what sex actually is. Sex is biological. It is determined by the sex organ you were born with. That being said, this can be determined by doctors or other people when a child is born. Sex, although it can be changed, it is generally definite. Gender, on the other hand, of sex is much more complicated. There is no real way to determine a gender of a person other than through self-exploration. You may have heard of transgender people. Literal speaking, trans means different. Therefore, transgender means different gender than assigned at birth. Gender can be changed at any time within a person, or they might have a determined gender. This is defined as gender fluid or be classified as a gender nonconforming. If someone's sex and gender did not align, sex reassignment surgery is a fairly new medical procedure. According to the Surgery Encyclopedia, these surgeries can be used by people who believe their sex and gender do not match up and want to align them. They can also be used for deformities in newborns to increase their chance of fertility later in life. Preparation for these surgeries at older ages can be a long, intense process. It takes a series of hormone treatments to trick the body into thinking it's the opposite gender. These treatments have to be gradual in order to keep these individuals healthy, as the bodies wouldn't be able to take such a large dose of testosterone or estrogen. Now that you know the difference between sex and gender, I can relate that to why gender-neutral bathrooms are beneficial. I'll start by talking about who would benefit from gender-neutral bathrooms. The first type of person who would benefit from this is students. One reason it would help students is it would give those with non-conforming genders a place to go to the bathroom without having fear of being harassed. Having these bathrooms could also teach young children about LGBT community and teach them that different isn't wrong. Many schools completely avoid teaching students about LGBT individuals, according to Josh Goodman. Our school systems need to address these trans individuals. He also states that 8 out of 10 of these individuals claim to have been severely bullied in K-12 schools. 35% of them had been physically assaulted, as well as being bullied and assaulted. He reported that 51% of them had attempted suicide, and 64% of them had property stolen or destroyed. Having these bathrooms could help integrate transgender into the everyday practice in school systems. Alongside helping non-conforming individuals, these bathrooms could benefit people who desire more privacy. These individual bathrooms are designed for transgender people, but they aren't limited to only transgender people. They could also potentially appeal to people with shy bladders. The next group of people it would benefit would be parents. Gender-neutral bathrooms can effectively work as a family bathroom. Instead of being labeled as a family bathroom, they would alternatively be labeled as an independent bathroom. And they could use these signs to show that they're all-inclusive. The reason these bathrooms would help parents is because, hypothetically, if a father had a young daughter, he couldn't take her into the men's room with him, and he wouldn't be able to go in the women's restroom with her and would be reluctant to send her in there alone. This would give them a place to go without making them make a decision. Now that I have talked about who it would benefit, I want to discuss some concerns. There are a few concerns with many people, though they are irrational, that they have been placed there by social media. One of the first concerns is sexual assault. This could include a non-trans individual using a bathroom of the opposite sex for illicit motives. According to Jane Fay, These fears are irrational and have been placed in the heads of many Americans. These fears have been placed by extremist feminist groups or religious groups that have been spreading videos of transgender people acting out in public bathrooms. Once these fears have been developed, conscious of them or not, they can be subconsciously passed down to younger generations. The next concern lies within the religious community. According to Faye, most of the people who disagree with these bathrooms are from religious groups. The main reason is because many of them believe that gender and sex are the same thing and shouldn't be changed. These groups are fairly small and their numbers are shrinking, but they are very persistent. Although they can try and argue that religion isn't a reason to deny people from feeling comfortable in a bathroom setting. There have been some controversy recently in North Carolina. There was a bill passed that required people to use the bathroom according to the sex on their birth certificate, which is a change from in the past where everyone was able to use the bathroom according to their gender identity. Republican Pat McCrory, the governor of North Carolina, signed the bill and later tweeted, "Ordinance defied common sense, allowing men to use women's bathrooms and locker rooms, for instance. That's why I signed the bipartisan bill to stop it." Chris DeGrow, Executive Director of Equality in North Carolina, says, "Today's vote at the NCGA represents politics at its worst. Senator Berger and Speaker Moore should be ashamed of misleading their members to vote for the worst anti-LGBT legislation in the nation, which is beyond comprehension." He continues to say, "Protection for LGBT people against discrimination are common sense. This special session where Berger and Moore rammed through a hastily crafted legislation was a farce of public policy." As you can see, the availability of gender-neutral bathrooms is a very relevant problem and should be available everywhere. Today, I have told you about the difference between gender and sex, who would benefit from having gender-neutral bathrooms, and the concerns people have about incorporating these bathrooms. By having these bathrooms easily accessible, it would help public places become more inclusive, along with helping people discover themselves and accepting themselves. So next time you use a public bathroom, think about what it would feel like if you weren't allowed into the bathroom you desire.